After over a decade of shuttering all of its North American stores, Hong Kong-based retail giant Esprit it's making a comeback in the U.S. The brand recently launched a pop-up store in Los Angeles. It has plans to open stores in New York. This comes as the company reaches profitability again after 5 years of losses. And joining us now is Esprit CEO William Pak. William, thank you so much for being here. As I mentioned in the tease, I'm old enough to remember Esprit and have fond memories of it. It was a huge brand. Catch us up on what happened to the brand and the company and now the comeback.
Hi. Thanks for having me here. So this company has been around for about 54 years from San Francisco, but over the last 25 years, it's been moving around. It's mainly been based in Germany and in Europe over the last at least 10 years, because the last time Esprit had a store here was 2012. So this is a big comeback because we're opening, as you mentioned, a pop-up in LA. Yesterday launched the pop-up in Soho, New York City, actually. And we're actually moving the global creative office to New York City. So we're creating a whole new division here.
How do you cut through all the clutter out there in apparel land? Meaning you have a lot of competition that maybe wasn't around 10, 15 years ago. How are you approaching from a creative standpoint?
So this is where it's very interesting. It's originally a California coastal brand, California Cool. We're modernizing that, turning it into a metropolitan outdoor brand, designed, created, photographed in New York City, so that it's now going to be known as a New York City brand, which will go global from here and re-expand again.
How important is the margin profile when you are looking at even that expansion in bringing back into the U.S. Based on the types of styles that will sell through, the inventory that you're moving through as well, and then just being able to make sure that the consumers are prioritizing purchasing with Esprit as a viable option versus this fast fashion environment too?
Yes, so Esprit is not fast fashion. Esprit was one of the original eco-friendly, sustainable brands. So taking that DNA from the heydays in the 80s and 90s, bringing that forward, we're doing a retransformation of the company. So there's a rebranding coming out next year, a repositioning, so that the messaging will be very clear to all consumers what we represent and what we sell. And it's quite a happy brand, so people are really looking forward to this coming out.
Yeah, it definitely has from what I remember, colorful, happy kind of brand. I also, of course, have in my brain the Esprit logo, and I wonder what role that is going to play. I mean, we sort of went away from logos for a while, but now with the resurgence of 90s fashion, we've seen some return of logos as well.
I think the logo is a good representation of what the brand stands for and the history of it. So we're going to be sticking with the iconic Esprit logo. Little modification in colors, but it's going to stick to that because we're noticing that consumers nowadays are looking up to brands as a very trustworthy thing to look up to in a world of turmoil and things like that. So this is a very stable thing we want to stick with.
Take us through your supply chain. Any problems? Has supply chain shortages cleared up at all? And what are you seeing on pricing just for garments?
We've seen about a very large supply crunch about 7 months ago across the world in shipping and also logistics. But because we diversified over the last year and a half during our restructuring, we were able to avoid a lot of these bottlenecks. So our inventory flow from there is actually on track with what we were planning. So given that, I think we're well positioned for re-entry next year.
What would you say the average demographic is or the age of the consumer that you're going after right now in different markets may be and may look like?
I think that this brand transcends different demographics in terms of age and geography, so that we're not actually targeting a specific age group because this resonates throughout the spectrum. And we're trying to make it a very, very, very wide demographic.
Esprit CEO William Pak, thank you so much for joining us here on set, and safe travels to you as well. I know you got a long flight ahead.
Thank you.